before the US-Iran war.
Well, that definitely affected pricing significantly, right?
Yes.
Plane tickets became so expensive.
Expensive.
That's ridiculous. I would say it's probably 20-30% increase. So hopefully, again, they'll find a solution, negotiations whatsoever, and hopefully then prices come down again.
Air travel has become unpredictable around the world, in Canada, in the US, across the globe. From flight delays to cancellation to airline workers strike, lost baggage, staffing shortage, rising ticket prices, among many issues that are facing, travelers these days. Today we are talking to Canadians, non-Canadians, on how these challenges are affecting them and what they believe the future of air travel will look like. Have you traveled in recent year or recent months in any way?
Yeah, actually, we just coming back from Germany. We spent 2 weeks there visiting family. Luckily, it was a very smooth trip. But yeah, we hear from WestJet and others, right, that there might be some disruption in air traveling, which is why we spend our next vacation just here in Canada. We're going to
Quebec.
exactly just in a cottage, a couple of days. That's what we're going to do. Um, it's hard to say and to predict. Typically, I do believe air traveling will kind of get back to normal. We remain positive.
A lot of Canadians are seeing the need to travel within the country. Your overall experience when you traveled to Germany, would you say it was all good? Were there delays? Were there cancellations?
Oh, I have to say we were mostly very smooth except one time, but that was just because the system was crashing of WestJet, I think.
Yeah.
That's why we missed our connecting flight in Halifax. That was a lot for us, right? But other than that, we are living here since 8 years. It was pretty good. I cannot complain.
Yeah. Especially this time, like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, everything went very smooth. Plane was on time, no delays at all.
With the destruction that is looming now, thankfully you even mentioned WestJet. WestJet, there's a looming news about some of the workers, planning to go on strike. Do you think it's going to affect people's plan for summer, for businesses?
Well, I do think for sure. I mean, typically, if we see strikes with any kind of
Airlines.
airlines, that's affecting the vacation plans or travel plans in general. But as I said, I'm hopeful. Usually, they come to an agreement, and hopefully, they will do it pretty quickly because there's nothing more annoying, right, than having those disruptions.
And for yourself, you feel that way too?
Yeah, I feel that way too because so far so good. Fingers crossed. We had not many issues.
Yeah.
Even with traveling for vacation to the Caribbean, Dominican, Cuba, whatever, with all those, Sunwings and all those vacation
Airlines.
airlines, no problem so far. Luckily.
You guys travel a lot based on what you're alluding to now. And again, do you think that comparing airline tickets these days, what would you say to that? Comparing what it has always been before the US-Iran war.
Well, that definitely affected pricing significantly, right?
Yes.
Plane tickets became so
Expensive.
expensive. That's ridiculous. I would say it's probably 20-30% increase. So hopefully, again, they'll find a solution, negotiations whatsoever, and hopefully then prices come down again.
With prices also, rising, do you see that affecting the booking of your hotel? Do you see changes in other, expenses that comes along with it? And what are those expenses that comes along with it that you notice?
Yeah, of course. We would not go as often anymore to vacation because it's too expensive.
Yeah, people are really caught in, having to travel
Yeah.
abroad because of the cost.
Well, typically, like in the past, we didn't really. I mean, of course, we did spend some time to compare, especially flight price, etc., but not like excessively, but we watch it very closely and decide based on flight price too if we're going or not.
Imagine you planning your trip, whether it's a family trip or for business or emergency or any form of trip that you're planning, and your flight got cancelled. What would be your reaction?
It's a good question. I don't know. Well, probably would be disappointed, but what can you do, right? We would probably try to find an alternative solution, right? And if not, at least in summer here is Canada is a good alternative, Ontario, right? To remain local.
Listen, you had that experience. Your flight got cancelled to Connecticut. You picked a car.
Yeah,
You
drove.
remember?
yeah. Well, yeah,
It was in winter time. It was not fun.
but that's what I mean, right? You have good opportunities also here in Ontario, so we probably take the car and try to do something local.
You even mentioned the season. The season, that part also makes certain things more difficult, right? Should you have to travel in the winter and your flight got cancelled, it's more challenging than summer. In summer, you could just, okay, the road trip is about
Right.
8 hours. Okay, I can drive. Screw you guys. I do the driving, but winter, you might want to think about it a little bit because the weather may not favor you.
Yeah, well,
Right.
and you might need to stay another night or two, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then obviously, I mean, get reimbursed by the airline.
hopefully, right?
But hopefully, but usually, at least from what we experienced in the past, they are when it comes to stuff like this, they're very cooperative.
When your flight got cancelled, do you feel that maybe having to take other means of transport can help?
Well, just at one time
Yeah,
with the
well-
car, but we never really tried to train.
I did.
Okay.
Oh yes, I did.
Where?
I did not travel by plane to Montreal. I traveled by train, and it
All
was
right, yeah,
very
yeah,
smooth.
true.
Yeah, I was happy about it. It was actually
Relaxing.
relaxing.
Oh, and you traveled from Union Station, Toronto?
Union
Okay.
Station to Montreal.
And it was cool.
It was very good.
You had the Viere back to Union Station, and it was cool.
Yeah,
Oh, very nice.
it was not a big deal at all. So I was happy.
And that would be a very good consideration for people to look into. I know someone too that was speaking to me a couple of days ago. He was thinking of going to Halifax, and he was like, maybe you could do like 2 or 3 days trip,
We
you know?
did it. We drove there. We
And
drove there already. So
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You know, that would be fun. You see all the scenery, you see all the historical
It's really
sites,
nice.
and
It was. So again, coming back like to that question, of course, especially if you remain local, train or car is always an alternative.
If you could deliver one message to airline executives, airline authorities, and transportation regulations, what would you want them to do differently to restore travelers' confidence?
I mean, stick on time, try to be on time, really be more reliable, that you really, when you go on vacation or even you fly for a business trip, longer, that you really can be sure the plane is leaving. Because you're always a little nervous when you travel by plane, to be honest, right? Because you never know what happens. That would be awesome.
But I would have a different message. It has nothing to do with confidence, but convenience. I would tell them shorten the time before boarding, right? Like by the time you leave your house, you wait at the airport, you probably spend 3 hours already before the plane leaves. Just
Yes.
make that quicker.
And you have absolutely almost no service anymore in the plane. You everything need to pay extra. The TV, the food, whatever. Everything is extra. And you pay already a lot for the ticket.
To the regulators, you want to talk about that a little bit? I believe it was some days ago, an airline expert was letting people know on TV that people should not even cancel their flights yet. Because if they do, they might not get a full refund from the airline because they did the canceling. You can imagine you're going to travel and there's a looming strike. You don't want to take that risk. You might be considering an alternative, especially if it's a long trip, so that you can book and have the assurance that you're not going to have your flight canceled.
I mean, it's definitely always, so far we didn't really do it, but it's, especially those days, probably a smart idea to look into alternatives upfront, right? And just have options.
Have you had experience with customer service? Do you think part of the message could be that maybe improving communication with travelers by emails, by phone calls, SMS, updating them about their trips. Do you think that will help?
Sure,
Yeah,
but I have to say, in my opinion, that is one thing where they got better in the past. Usually, you get updates if there are delays, if there are any changes. Meanwhile, I even get information upfront what kind of services they offer on board. So that's one thing which.
Yeah, but if it comes to customer service, we don't have really experience. So I would, to make that easier, to make a complaint or to really tell them, hey, I missed my flight, whatever, what is going to happen. We don't have a lot of experience with that. So,
That will be some of the areas of improvement,
yeah,
going
for
forward.
sure.
Thank you guys so much.